Breathe in, breathe out. Are you like me? Are you pathologically busy? So busy that you can't even think straight? A couple days ago, my husband recommended a book for me. He said it's a must read. He's like, download it on Audible and listen to it. Because he knew I wasn't going to sit and actually read the book at this season in life. And when I loaded the book, I immediately thought, oh, I'll listen to it on 1.5 or 2 times speed so I can get it in faster. And I'm like, no, listen to it at just normal speed, Becky. The title of the book is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Oh, okay. If you have kids, if you feel like you have no time for yourself, if you feel like homeschooling is out of control, if you feel like life is out of control, if you can't breathe, if you can't exhale, if you can't pause and admire something, even if it's as simple as, gosh, remember when the kids used to love construction vehicles? If you can't stop and enjoy the moment that you're in right now, I think that you need this book as much as I do. I am so struck. I'm halfway through. I'm listening to it at normal speed. And I'm recognizing how much our lives are controlled by things that cause us to go into frantic mode. And this is not a stage or a place of thriving. You want to thrive, Mom. You want to thrive, Dad. And you do it by slowing down and breathing. Now, I'm not the expert. I did not write this book. But a couple things jumped out at me so far. Number one, my husband always has good counsel. Honey, I said it out loud to the masses. You always have great counsel. And I'm always blessed when I listen and then do with the things that you recommend that I do. You are the wisest man on the planet in my life. So thank you for being that for me. The second thing is that the book is so straightforward. The fact that hurry is such a thief of joy and peace. You know, in one of my coaching sessions with one of our Homeschooling Olympians, I told her, she was talking about rushing through assignments, and I don't remember saying it, but she's quoted me 3 times now since then. She's like, Becky, I still remember when you said speed is of the enemy. Speed robs you of joy. Now, there's times to go fast, right? But not usually. Usually, life, your kids want you to pause long enough to just ponder what's going on in life and to show them how cool life is, right? So the thing that jumped out at me was this phrase. The author's name is John Mark Comer. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Profound book. Profound. He uses this phrase. He quotes it from somebody, and I don't have my notes, so I can't remember who the original person that said it is, but they call it pathologically busy. I don't know that I've heard a better explanation of how we live our lives. Pathologically busy. And it's not what we want. We do not want to be pathologically busy. We want to be in continued peace, in continued joy, thriving, showing our kids that it's possible to follow the Lord, to love our family, to do good, and to be filled with joy. Now, kids can't be what they can't see. So if you're not showing them what being at rest looks like, what being this, and I'm speaking to myself because I need this lesson right now. You need to be showing them what it looks like to slow down, to smell the flowers, as my father used to say, to be still, and to admire whatever is right around you. If you're in the desert, the wonder of desert life. If you're near the ocean, the majesty of the ocean that only goes so far most of the time, right? For me in the Pacific Northwest, the amazing trees and life that I constantly am around. They need you. Your children need to see you pause and rest. So pathologically busy. Was that you? This other statistic jumped out at me like crazy, and I know I'm going to lean into this and do some research. Imagine what you could learn if you dedicated 10,000 hours to something. Oh, there's controversy about, people say to be an expert in anything, you just put 10,000 hours towards it. And there's controversy about that. However, in my own house, one of our sons, we have 5, and they're all 18 and older now. One of our sons fell in love with the guitar right around his 12th birthday. And he leaned into music, and homeschool allowed us to give him time and space to be unhurried and to just practice. Well, the kid is now no longer a kid. He's 22, and he has played his guitar well over 10,000 hours, and he is a master musician. When we have the stereo on at home and he's home, I'll stop and I'll say, wow, the stereo sounds so great. But what's really happening is Isaac's sitting in the other room playing the same song that's on the radio or the stereo, and he'll be playing it in a way that makes the song bigger. It's not hurting your ears. It's like he's a master musician because he's put well over 10,000 hours into this. I've seen this. Our youngest son is on the path of becoming an Olympic rower. Not an understatement. He's aiming for the 2032 Olympics in Australia in rowing. He's put in thousands of hours on the boat, millions of strokes already at 18. And if you saw his picture, you'd be like, wow, he's a beast. He's a beast on the boat. Amazing. So well over 10,000 hours. I have one of my kids has put in well over 10,000 hours thinking and studying science and math. Another one that's put in well over 10,000 hours doing art. He actually just launched his art store online. So proud of him. And another one that's put in 10,000 hours of self-learning things like calculus so that he can thrive in his career. But he's also put in well over 10,000 hours reading and absorbing information so he is an expert in the things that are going on, right? 10,000 hours. The statistic in the book said that today most kids have put 10,000 hours by the time they're 2021, 10,000 hours into playing video games. What? Okay, I'm not against video games, but imagine at the end of their time at home with you, if they've put 10,000 hours into doing something that they love, music, writing, sports, science, history, mechanics, 10,000 hours spread out over years is a few hours a day, a couple hours a day. Or if they've become a master of level 7 on whatever game. This statistic jumped out at me like crazy because you may or may not know that in the season of life of homeschooling that I'm in right now, our kids have launched. We have a very active life coaching for homeschoolers, but I've also been tutoring kids that are in the public school across the nation. I only have a few students so far. I'm so blessed to be able to breathe encouragement over their lives. But at least 3 of them are very disinterested in things about life, and they're very interested in their video games. And I think about this and I'm like, okay, but what if you could plug into something else? So this book, I believe, is a must read. It's a must listen to. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. It's changing the way that I look at my day, how often do you say, I'm just too busy? If I only had more time, if there were only more hours in the day. How often are you exhausted, tired, overwhelmed, conflicted, because you have too much on your plate? This book, it's a slow read, but it's changing the way that I look through the day. Do you know that and I'll close with this. I'm not going to quote who said it because I can't remember because I don't have my notes. Way back when they invented the sundial. The sundial. You know, that device that charts the movement of the sun. Somebody back then is quoted to say something like, I'm going to paraphrase it. He's like, oh my gosh, they've found a way to break apart our day into little chunks. It's going to ruin everything. They said that about the sundial. And now we have not only clocks, but we have all these devices and all of these things that we can binge watch. We have smartphones, we have social media, we have curriculum and activities and sports and things to do. All these things that break apart our day into these little chunks so that we stop resting. We stop listening. We stop enjoying life, family, rest. When was the last time that you had a family gathering where more than your intimate family came? When was the last time that you had a neighborhood barbecue? When was the last time that you enjoyed your day so much so that when you got to the end of the day, the highlight of your day was, fill in the blank what it is for you. For me, it might be something like, I saw a robin sitting on their nest, and I was so excited to watch them go back and forth. That restful, this is not a big deal to the rest of the world, but it was a big deal to me. One time I was walking on the seashore, and I was able to rescue 2 massive starfish on the seashore just because I was there and I was walking and I happened to see that they were way beyond what the tide was going to be, and I was able to chuck them back into the water. That was a highlight of my day. I was just talking to my husband about this morning because he was sharing about the dark-eyed juncos that he has been watching in the backyard. And I was like, you know what? This is exactly what I speak over, what I've spoken over the boys for years, because it's in the small moments that the richness of life reveals itself. One of my sons, when we first moved up to the Pacific Northwest, changed my life forever. As we were driving by, we lived by a big body of water, and he just randomly says, don't you just love that the water is never the same? It's almost like it has a personality of its own. And from that day forward, I take note of the water. And you know what? He's right. Sometimes it's glass. Sometimes it's choppy. Sometimes it's ugly and murky. Sometimes it's swelly and beautiful. Sometimes it's clear. Sometimes it's cloudy. It's amazing to pause, and we always talk about it when we drive by. Pay attention to the little things, because that is what life is made up of. A collection of little things that matter more than a level on a video game, than another errand that needs to be run, another thing that was collected that we don't need just to add to our collection, or another minute of being too hurried. So I'm going to go back to listening to the book. I'm going to encourage you to get your own copy. For me, I'm listening on Audible. I find that in my busy life, it's easier for me to pause and listen, especially while I'm walking, or I would say jogging, but I wouldn't call it that. But when I'm walking and I'm out exercising, I'm able to just pause and listen to the book. I prefer paper copies, so you can get a paper copy. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Highly recommend. It will change the way that you look at your day, and it will impact your life in ways that you cannot even comprehend. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm going to go get back to listening.